all you twi-hards and twi-nards. My name is Laura. I'm one of your hosts.
My name is Meggie, and I am the other host. And whoa, hold the phone.
No, hold on, Meggie. I haven't said the name of the podcast yet. This is Yaoi Reddit, the podcast that Meggie and I host together.
And
now you can go.
I'm picking the phone back up because, Laura, that was such a good intro.
Thank you. I thought about it in the bathroom before we started recording, and I went, I'm coming in really hot with twi-hards and twi-nards today, and that'd be a really good shirt idea, too, I think, for our merch that we'll inevitably get when this podcast launches off, you know?
Yeah, because, listeners, I have to be honest, I re-listened to our episodes after them, and I think we have a lot of really good catchphrases this season, specifically.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we have too many good quips and catchphrases.
I think when Laura brought up that they were Ocean's 11ing Bella off of the baseball field, I thought when I said that Charlie Swan is a Dr. Colin Dick writer, like we're really serving up some bangers.
Yeah, I laugh out loud every time I'm listening to this podcast. Am I right or am I right, ladies?
Exactly. And that's the kind of woman that Edward deserves, is someone who listens to their own 50-minute podcast later on and doesn't fall down the stairs.
When was the last time Edward laughed? Someone tell me the last time Bella told Edward a real joke.
He doesn't laugh, he just smirks. He's always smirking to me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just so boring. I will say I have liked this book more so because Edward has been not in it. But then he comes back and then I immediately start hating reading it again. So, that's kind of where I'm at, I guess.
After 2 books, you gotta give them a chance at some point, Laura.
I mean, I feel like me reading the books is giving them a chance, Meggie.
I don't know. My mom says you just gotta stay in something that you don't like for a long time.
Well,
you'll find the right guy eventually.
At Meggie, she lives in Iowa.
She is. I thought you were about to rag on her relationship, and I was like, listen, my parents, I do want a marriage like theirs someday.
Oh no, I love their marriage. I love your parents' dynamic so much. I would never say such a thing.
Exactly. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Laura and I are not fighting.
Don't worry, guys. Yeah. Mary and John are hashtag goals.
Absolutely.
But speaking of hashtag goals, something that is not hashtag goals right now is your best friend avoiding you, which is what Bella is going through right now. We left off New Moon with Jacob and Bella. They were hanging out. Things were going great, and then Jacob just suddenly got sick, and then he was ignoring her, and Bella's learned that Victoria's after her. It's a whole thing. And Jacob's just been missing, and they hang out every day, so this is very, very strange.
Bella has a lot of concern for him because obviously, like we brought up last time, him and a lot of his friends have been hanging around Sam Yulee, who he was previously so afraid of. So she calls her dad. She's like, hey, we gotta drive around. Maybe he abducted him. I don't know. But while she's driving around, she sees Quill on the side of the road, who is also afraid of Sam coming to, quote, get him. He's gonna get him next.
But Jacob comes to Bella's car. He sees her at La Push, and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And Bella takes immediate note that Jacob is just different now, which is interesting because we've already seen Jacob go through 4 growth spurts in this entire book series, and we're only on book 2. So the fact that he already seems different again, and it's only been a couple of weeks, is strange. And they agree to talk alone, and Jacob's being weird. All he says is this is all because of the Cullens. And so he's dancing with some riddles right now, if you will.
He really is. Bella assumes this stonewalling is because she doesn't really want to kiss him, doesn't really want to, do anything with him like that. So she reassures him that maybe she could try to want to kiss him down the road as a last-ditch option.
Yeah, but...
Don't you love hearing that?
Really, at the end of this conversation, Jacob essentially ends his friendship with Bella and is like, I can't be around you, we can't do this. We're donezo times 100.
So she goes home, she stomps to Charlie, and she's like, Sam Yulee is making my buddy not hang out with me.
And okay, Charlie kind of a ride or die here because he calls Billy, who's Jacob's father, and is so mad that Jacob would unfriend his daughter. He's like, how dare you unfriend Bella? She likes Jacob a lot.
Where was my mom for that when Caitlin Winker wouldn't put me in her top 8 on MySpace?
Hey, your mom's not a Charlie.
Exactly.
Think about that.
Top 8, like, you get the parent on the phone. Why is my daughter not in the social standing of the most popular girl in school's clique? You know?
Wow.
Top 8
Look
really.
where you are now, hosting a podcast.
Hosting a podcast at 30, not thinking about top 8 MySpace. It did a number on me, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. We all carry things with us from our childhood. Speaking of carrying things with them, Bella is very certain that Victoria is at her window this evening. And she's waiting for it. She's like, this is how I die. Slay. So into it. But then it's actually Jacob at her window. And Jacob's, again, acting completely differently than he was earlier. He's like, oh my gosh, I want to apologize for my tone and my actions earlier.
Exactly. He's a gentleman now. He has a top hat. He comes in wearing a top hat.
He taps his little gold encrusted cane on the window. And he goes, let me remove my fancy gloves as I enter.
He, like, checks the time on his pocket watch, and he's like, I have until the stroke of midnight.
Yeah, he has a handlebar mustache and talks in a transatlantic accent now. It's great.
It's crazy. He time travels now, too.
But then we get, like, a really, like, weird conversation here because Jacob's essentially trying to play charades with Bella. He's like, okay, something happened to me, and you know exactly what it was because we've talked about it before. And Bella's like, I don't understand. I can't remember anything my friends ever tell me.
He's like,
honestly, it's really funny.
He's like,
it's not supposed to be.
8 letters, big animal in the woods.
2 syllables. Sounds like schmear schmo.
So, and she is just like, listen, Jacob, I'm too tired. Even though he's laying it on thick, he really is just like, okay, listen, the Cullens are vampires, yeah?
You're like, he literally is
What's the opposite of that?
He's like, you remember the first conversation we had in book 1 where we were on the beach at La Push, and I said the Cullens are vampires, and I said my family is werewolves. You remember that, right? But he won't say werewolves. He's like, and I said my family is ...
And
she's like,
she's like, Jacob, I have to take a melatonin right now. I have to fall into a deep slumber.
Yeah, she's like, Jacob, I simply can't be bothered with you asking me to remember something that Edward didn't tell me. I can only remember things he said.
Seriously, that's how I read
Honestly, though.
So she falls asleep and she has a dream about werewolves and she shoots right up in the next morning. She knows what it is. She knows what the answer is.
Yeah, and she's going to run to Jacob the next morning, but first she's going to run into Charlie, who's downstairs making his little coffee and breakfast, and he's going to say there was another bear attack or a wolf attack. They all know it's wolves now. But Charlie also says that everybody in town wants to go wolf hunting now. So Bella's like, oh no, I gotta save my wolf friend.
Yes, so she is like nervous too because what if her friend is killing people, but she's ride or die now, I guess, for him.
Well,
so
she loves her monsters. That's kind of Bella's thing.
Her MO is loving monsters.
Yeah.
So she goes to Jake's to chat. She does give Billy the heads up that the police department is hunting the werewolves, and I'm sure Billy's like, Bella, I'm 40 steps ahead of you.
Yeah, and it's like, no, none of these wolves think it's a big deal. They're like, they're not gonna get us. We're too fast.
He does chuckle at this. He's swinging his pocket watch. He's letting out a guffaw. And when they go down to the beach, he lets her know that he's not the one killing people. It's actually vampires. It's your filthy, like, leeches or bloodsuckers or whatever he says.
Yeah. He also does take this opportunity to call Bella a hypocrite because Bella immediately is jumping to conclusions of being like, how can you kill people? And he's like, Bella, your ex-boyfriend did kill people. Like, and that entire family has killed people. Like...
Not to defend Edward here, I will say, but if there were killings like happening around you and it hadn't been when you met the vampires, I would still, and the police department's assuming it's wolves, but also I guess we don't trust the police. They could be, listen, I don't know. I still would be like wary of werewolves because I would assume if people are getting like ripped up, it was not the vampires that fled the area.
Yeah, well, we do learn that it is the vampires that are killing all the humans, and all these werewolves kill is vampires. They are vampire hunting werewolves. They are not bad little puppies.
No, Bella does piece together. It is one in particular. It is Victoria who is after her. And Jacob, who now has this new information that it is Victoria, he calls for a meeting with his pack in his head because
they can telepathy with each other, which is stupid, but okay, Stephanie Meyer, will allow it.
And now they have intel into who they're hunting. They're gonna bind each other to secrecy, hear each other's thoughts, no boundaries, let the conversation flow. I need me a love like that. I want no boundaries.
Boop boop. So first the werewolf boys, they're a little mad that they've let Bella in on the secret, but Jacob's like, nah, guys, she's cool. She loves her monsters. And Jacob and Paul have like this like werewolf fight in front of Bella, who's like freaking out. And Sam's like, oh, I'm so mad at this. Come on, everybody, let's go get some breakfast at my fiance's house. So they like just take Bella while like Paul and Jacob just like figure it out.
I mean, that's his girl. He's got to defend her honor because Paul did call her a vampire lover.
And she is.
She is.
Paul's not wrong. Jacob, what are you defending? The truth? Like, come on.
Hey, being a Colin Dick writer runs in the family, okay? Did we
hey,
learn anything about how much Charlie loves Carlisle?
In your blood, pun intended. We also learned that Sam's fiance, Emily, she's a really cool person. She has a werewolf scar on her face.
Yeah, she's cool. She's cool. She's making pancakes for all the boys. She makes a good
breakfast, that's pretty cool.
And so they are just friends again, and that's the whole thing now after this.
And they plan for like Bella to hang out at La Push as much as possible, since that way they can protect her more. So now that like the wolf pack is like their ride or dies, they're in on Bella now. They're like, great, we're gonna protect you from Victoria, especially now that we know that she is hunting you specifically.
Charlie's kind of confused by this development of them being friends again, but honestly, he's like, as long as she's not depressed, that's okay.
Yeah.
She goes over for dinner later that night with her dad to Jacob's, and they kind of go into being a werewolf a bit more. Jacob takes her aside, and
yeah, they talk about what the stats are for werewolves.
They talk about like the over and under on how fast they can run.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I'm running like at like 80 miles per hour right now, but usually you can get to 90 when you get like a little older as a werewolf.
He's like, it's so crazy when I just walk on my hind legs. I can't wait to show you that.
He's like, do you want to see me heal myself after getting injured? Is that what you want to see?
They started branding.
Which I would want to see that, but I was like, no, that's okay. I would absolutely want to see that. Are you kidding me?
My first question for my dog friend would be, can we start a TikTok, and how many things can you balance on your head?
You're just describing the plot to Turning Red, that movie where that girl turns into a panda and then they just like capitalize on social media.
Oh my god, I forgot about that movie.
Such a good movie. But that's what they should have done here, is they should have made this a Turning Red moment.
I just love watching dogs balance things. Or, oh my gosh, when you watch a dog and they're walking in the pool and they, do you know what I'm talking about? And they can like get themselves out of the pool. Make Jacob do that. Oh my god. There's so many things.
Do you think if you like fake like threw a tennis ball that like a werewolf would fall for it, like a dog, where they start running and they're like, you didn't throw it?
No, Laura, because this isn't Tim Allen's The Shaggy Dog. He's not going to.
But it basically is, Maggie, because there's not much action in this book.
I would really love that, because you could never lose an argument. It's like your partner's getting pissed at you and you're like, you pick up a stick and you throw it.
You shake a bag of treats and they're like, damn it.
They're trying to yell at you and you're like, should we take this outside? Outside?
Yeah. Do you want to go on a walk? Yeah.
So anyways, Bella's throwing all the punches Jacob's way and he's like super excited about it. He's like, yeah.
And after this, shortly after they say that they want to go cliff jumping together, Jacob wants to take Bella cliff jumping since it'll be super fun. And later that day, we also learned that the wolves have found a trace of Victoria. So they can't actually go cliff jumping because Jacob has to go spring into action as the little wolf boy he is.
And I mean, it's good because Jacob is obviously like intel, knowing that Bella has opened up to him about James attacked her. Victoria is likely going to take a quote mate for a mate since Edward killed James. And she also does mention to Jake that vampires can have special gifts, which I don't know if she should have told him that, but
Whew, I don't think she should have told him that either. But Bella, she's a kooky girl now. She's like, whatever, I'm gonna go cliff jumping by myself, which is even the most dangerous thing for an experienced cliff jumper. You should probably always have a person with you.
And you're thinking this can't get worse. She notices storm clouds are coming in, right? And storm clouds constantly change the current of water, any body of water, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Not only this, it's a hurricane that is coming in.
Yeah. So she jumps into this choppy ass water, and then she has like visions of Edward saving her, but it's Jacob who saves her. She can't even give him credit where his credit is due.
She hits her ribs on a rock. She's like, this is it, I'm done for. Because, I'm sorry, you're getting pulled under by a current. You hit your ribs on a rock. You hit your head.
Yeah.
How does she not drown? I mean, we know because Jake saves her, but it's like...
But, like, also, like, use your brain. Like, Bella also, like, is not new to this terrain. She grew up in, like, Seattle, essentially, or the Forks, and she's been here a bunch. Like, she knows. She even mentions, like, oh, I know how to, like, swim out of, like, a riptide, but, like, this is worse. It's like, why didn't you look at the current of the water before you did this?
I don't know.
This is easy things to avoid.
So Jake is giving her CPR on the beach because, hot. Their first mouth to mouth. I do love in my notes it says, like, Jake's giving her CPR, and to me, I was like, it's giving CPR on the beach. But, so it is. She spits up a fuckload of water, and she's, like, super dehydrated because she's intaken all this salt from the water.
Yeah.
And when she wakes up, he mentions that Harry Clearwater, their dad's friend, had a heart attack.
Yeah. So Jacob drives Bella home, and now she's like, maybe we could kiss, that he saved my life.
It's so annoying. She has this 3-page dream about the classic Romeo and Juliet because Stephenie Meyer can only pull from the most mainstream classics, which makes me sound pretentious, but it is just like this or like Wuthering Heights and nothing else.
Those are the only two books Stephenie Meyer read before this. So.
Exactly. And she's hypothesizing on how maybe she should give Paris a chance, like frumpy little Paris from William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, which is, that's supposed to be Jacob in her life.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't find my Romeo.
But the kiss is interrupted because Jacob, with his doggy snoot, he smells a vampire. And Bella notices the Cullens' car and immediately ditches Jacob. Like, no questions asked. Like, is like, sorry, Jacob, gotta go figure it out. And it's like, and Jacob, like, tries to, like, bring her back, being like, no, I'm trying to take you here to protect you. And she's like, no, gotta go figure out who's in the car, gotta go see him.
And he's like, listen, if the Cullens are here, I can't protect you.
She's like, I don't care, I gotta go see who's in the car.
Which, he's cranky because it seems like she's picked a side.
Literally, like, it's just like, oh my god, they've been best friends this whole time, and she just doesn't give a shit anymore now that, like, someone from her ex-boyfriend's family is there. That's so shitty.
So it is Alice. She is there. She's confused how Bella is alive because she clearly saw her jumping off this cliff, and she's like, Bella, why did you ever think suicide was the answer?
And then Bella has to tell her that, no, cliff jumping's just for fun. And Alice is like, I don't know what that is. I'm a vampire.
Exactly. Alice has other fun things like stealing cars that she does.
Yeah.
And so Bella kind of tunes Alice in on what her life has been like. She's like, hey, Jacob Black saved me. He's kind of a vampire. Laurent and Victoria showed up because Victoria wants to kill me. So, yeah, my life, it's a little crazy.
Yeah. And she's like, but you have to stay for at least for the night, Alice. I miss you so. And Alice is like, okay, fine, I'll stay for the night.
So she stays for the night. She doesn't sleep because she's a vampire. And the next morning, Bella overhears a conversation between Alice and Charlie discussing how her mental health tanked after Edward. And Alice is like, I mean, he's not doing that great either. Like, he's in, like, Africa figuring himself out.
He's finding himself.
Which, I would love to go abroad after a breakup.
Yeah. And after Charlie goes to work, Alice dips out very quickly because she can smell that Jacob is nearby. And then we have this really, like, weird scene where it's like Jared and Embry are very tense about Alice being there, and it's a whole thing.
Jacob lets her know that, hey, while the Cullens are back, if they're coming back, FYI, I can't protect you. on your land. And he is like going to kiss her. This is when I started being like, I can see where the Team Jacob girlies are going, because as he's going to kiss her, he like doesn't miss making eye contact with her as the phone is ringing. And I like picture it as he's like holding her chin and picks up the phone off the wall without like breaking eye contact. Very hot. Like just a minute, let me answer your phone in your house and we will stay in this intimate moment. Like, that was hot to me.
And it would be hot, but this does unfortunately backfire for him, because it is Carlisle on the other line asking where Charlie is, and Jacob's like, yeah, he's at the funeral, and the line just goes dead. And then he doesn't get a kiss because Bella's like, who's that? Oh my god, a Cullen called? Wow, I need to hear all about it.
I know, it's
just, he can't catch a break.
He can't capture his Juliet.
No.
And Alice gets a call. She says, hey, I got bad news bears for us. I think Edward's going to do something a little bit drastic, which is confirmed because she starts also talking to Rosalie on the phone, who seems to tell her Edward... he's saying something about Edward that Bella can't hear, and Alice seems panicky.
Yeah, this whole scene was written very poorly. I even wrote, like, this is all confusing. This could have been broken down way better.
I did just have to clarify my notes because my notes didn't make any sense either.
Yeah, no, like, I think I read this passage, like, 3 times because I was like, what the actual fuck is happening?
I know.
And I don't know if it was intentional to be like, because it's a whirlwind of, like, information right now, but it's like, but nothing's really said, so it doesn't really make any sense. But either way, we learned that it wasn't Carlisle on the phone. It was Edward. And he was calling because Rosalie told him about the vision that Alice had about Bella jumping off the cliff, and now Edward thinks that Bella is dead, and he is going to go to the Volturi to ask them to kill him.
I mean, classic who's on first situation we got going on here.
But like, also begs the question, because it's like, Edward obviously planned that Bella and him were going to be no more. This was better for her. And so, like, was he just gonna kind of, like, wait for her forever and, like, basically just observe? Because, like, what if she just, like, moved on, and then what if something like this happened in 40 years and she was 50? Would he still go and kill himself?
Oh, you're telling me you don't want to spend the rest of your life just watching your ex live happily with someone else through the windows of their house extremely close by, and then after she grows old and dies with him, go, yeah, well, love of my life is dead, guess I gotta kill myself?
Yeah, like, what? Okay.
You don't want to do the most well-adjusted thing a person could do after a breakup?
Yeah, no, and now I get Bella's Ocean's 11 mode, because she's like, Alice, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to the Volturi, we're gonna find him, we're gonna catch him, we're gonna save him. And Alice is like, let's slow down a little bit and, like, think of the course of action here. And Jacob is obviously overhearing all of this, and he's like, Bella, please stay. Don't do this. This guy literally broke your heart. And she's like, no, I have to go save him.
Because it's Alice awful. Mentions that he's going to Italy. He's going to ask the Volturi to kill him. And Bella immediately is like, we got to scramble.
Yeah.
Listen, if I scooted my little butt every time my ex-boyfriend threatened to kill himself, I wouldn't, what would the point be? What would the point be?
And how many times did you get to go to Italy, Meggie?
Never.
Probably 0.
I never got to go to Italy, unfortunately.
Exactly.
No, I got to stay in Iowa City, Iowa. The least. It does start with an I, though, I guess.
But of course they take a plane there, and this is where I got mad, because I was like, you're telling me that we waited till page 427 of a 560-page book to just change the plot entirely? Like, the rest of the book is just this adventure. We're not going back to the werewolves and her learning about them and befriending them and this Victoria plotline. We're just straight up abandoning it, which is pissed me off to no end. Like, I get, cool, we can do a side quest, but we gotta come back to the main story we've been having this whole time.
They really did set it up like Victoria is gonna attack and the werewolves have to defend her.
Battle? That's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought it was gonna be 5 werewolves versus a vampire. That's what I wanted to see.
But instead, they are on this plane. Alice goes into the background of the Volturi. They are this family of self-elected royals who keep order by enforcing that no vampire can reveal his identity. That is their one true rule.
Yeah.
And so Alice has a vision that Edward is going to ask the Volturi to kill them. They're basically going to shoot him down because his gifts are really special. So he is going to reveal himself in the sun during this huge festival where people wear a lot of red cloaks because they are celebrating the lore of vampires. And it's for, like, humans to celebrate in this, like, town square in Italy.
Now, people mention throughout these books that, like, they can tell when, like, Alice is having a vision, if you know that she has visions. How subtle do you think it is to, like, the naked human eye that doesn't know? Do you think it's very That's So Raven-y? Or do you think she's like, and then she's like, I had a vision?
I mean, isn't that what Raven always does? She, like, has a huge intake of air.
No, Raven always looked off to the side and was just, like, mouth agape.
I think that we are stigmatizing those who have visions, because honestly, how often do I disassociate in a day and look like I'm having a vision because my mind goes blank?
But Maggie, I can confirm, you look like you're disassociating, not like you're having a vision.
Exactly, though. I feel like having a vision, you would look like you're disassociating.
Yeah, but like, what if you looked a little bit different when you were having a vision? Like, your eyes start darting everywhere, like you're concussed or something.
It has to be exactly like the movies where Alice has the visions. And have you seen movies like The Poltergeist where they bring a medium in and the ghost kind of possesses their body and then they're like scribbling really fast? That is when someone is having a vision to me.
Wow.
I painted a picture.
Well, great. Moving on. Now we know.
They're off the plane.
Oh, Bella does beg Alice on the plane. She's like, now that we're on this 9-hour, well, probably like 12-hour plane ride since they're going from Forks. Now that we're on this long-ass plane ride, will you turn me into a vampire?
Oh, yeah, she's like, please, 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 please. You could just do it right
now. Mom,
now.
I'm bored. Will you turn me into a vampire?
Well, if you're not going to give me the aisle seat, at least turn me into a vampire.
If you're not going to let me watch your iPad, at least turn me into a vampire.
So Alice promises, like, yeah, sure, whatever. That's fine. Edward's going to be mad at me, but you're going to be one anyways. It's fine, whatever.
But Alice has a new vision during this, and her vision now is that Edward is going to walk into the sun in front of all of the humans at this festival, thus revealing the secret and thus being sentenced to death. So now it's a race against time. They gotta get him before this vision maybe comes true or maybe doesn't.
They gotta giddy up, Buttercup. So once they're off the plane, Alice steals this beautiful yellow Porsche, this Grand Theft Auto car. Vroom vroom. She drives them as close as possible to the Volterra city, where there's like a throng of red-clad humans there to celebrate the aforementioned festival, the St. Marcus Day one, when St. Marcus ran all these vampires out of the city. So
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to keep saying the plot.
I was just going to say, well, so they have to, like, since it's a huge tourist trap right now, it takes them forever to get the car into the city. And then Alice is basically like, I gotta go park. You go find him, though. And so Bella is running through the city center of Volterra, and at some point she decides, it'll be faster for me to jump into the giant fountain and run through that in hopes that I can get to him faster.
I mean, he's, like, about to expose himself. I don't know if you guys have seen the New Moon movie, but I feel like they did the blocking really well on it, because I think that it translates so well to screen. So she is just sprinting a pass as a family is waiting eagerly to kind of almost see him, like, expose himself. You know when you wait eagerly to see a man expose himself?
Yay. Public indecency, am I right, folks?
And when she gets to him across this fountain, she throws herself into his arms, and he's like, wow, did I die and go to heaven? But no, he didn't. Yeah,
he does think he's in hell, and he's like, but it doesn't make sense because you're here, and I have to go to hell because I'm a soulless vampire. And it takes Bella, like, 2 pages to convince him that he's not in hell. Like, get to the point, Stephanie Meyer. But then 2 other vampires, Felix and Dimitri, interrupt them, and they're like, well, looks like a human knows about us little vampires. We gotta do something about this.
Yes, they're like, can we talk somewhere a little more discreet? And Edward's like, no. That thing I said earlier, I take back that. That was crazy. I don't even know who that guy was. We'll just head out.
No. Come down this weird drain hole sewer that is the entrance to our castle.
So they follow Felix and Dimitri down this path. Jane does show up at some point to also escort them down there, and the Cullens, they have very strong thoughts on Jane. They are very scared of her. She is this childlike, angelic, blonde looking like little baby girl.
They hate her because she's hotter than them. Just say it, Maggie.
Exactly. I feel like Jane was like turned at like 15, so she just has like the confidence of like a middle schooler, and also is powerful. Scary.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Is that who Dakota Fanning played in the movie?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, that makes sense.
Really good casting.
We also get introduced to Aro, who welcomes them. He's like the main Volturi guy. And his vampire power is that he can know every thought you've ever had by touching you.
Yeah, crazy. He can see your entire life.
Yeah, everything you've ever thought. But it's like, I feel like what a useless skill, because then does he just get inundated with me being like, I should go for a walk. I should grade a journal. I'm kind of horny right now. I could have a snack. Like, people aren't thinking good thoughts most of the time.
I think that if he touched my hand and he didn't laugh once, I would just be like, okay, should I kill myself? Actually, what I said earlier to the Volturi about killing myself, put it back on the table, because Aro isn't laughing at one catchphrase I've said throughout my entire life.
I think Aro's too old to have a sense of humor at this point, honestly.
Damn it.
But Edward does reveal in this, moment to the Volturi that Bella is immune from his mind reading powers. And then Aro tries to read Bella's thoughts, and we learn that she's immune to his powers. And then Jane tries to use her powers on Bella, and she's immune to her powers as well. And then it's like this whole thing that like Bella's supposed to be immune to people's powers now, but that also doesn't make any sense, because in the first book she wasn't.
I do love how she's not immune to Jasper's powers,
and she's not immune to James's powers, who was able to chase her the entire last book.
It's actually pretty interesting. They do touch upon it for 2 seconds in Breaking Dawn, and if we get to it, maybe I'll remember to bring it up. But she is very special. She has a very special little brain. Apparently, her brain is so
that's because she doesn't have any
awesome.
thoughts to read.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you. So Aro's like, all right, here's the deal. You have to change her or I'll kill her now. And Alice is like, whoa. Can we just back up for 2 seconds? Can we just, here, take my hand. Touch my hand. And that's when he figures out that I was like, okay, she's going to be a vampire soon.
Yeah. Perfect. She's going to be a vampire soon. And they basically say, like, great, you're free to go. We'll check in to make sure that happens. And as they start leaving this little office, a bunch of transfixed tourists are being led into the Volturi room. And basically Edward, Bella, and Alice just hear the slaughter of screaming that happens as they're led into a quaint little lobby that plays nice music.
I do have to say, reading this as a kid, and I mean, even an adult, I will say, I do think, which we don't give Stephenie Meyer enough credit, maybe I give her too much credit, but I think this scene was very unsettling, and I think it had to do with the unsuspecting kind of shorter, older woman who, is not even, she's speaking a foreign language, she's not even understanding what's happening, and is praying over a rosary and holding a cross. I thought that was a very powerful imagery, and it really scared me a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I agree the scene was unsettling, but I feel like my issue with Stephenie Meyer is that she never goes all in on like being a horror book. It's like this could have been a really good horror novel, but she doesn't want it to be unsettling and scary. So to throw something like this in, yeah, it's cool imagery, but it also just feels so out of place in this world, because she keeps saying, "Oh, this is so dangerous. Oh, this is so dangerous," but everything that's dangerous, they evade immediately. So it's like we're never really given the actuality of what this world could be, because Stephenie Meyer doesn't want to write it, you know?
That is true, because I would almost argue against you with being like, well, the Cullens, they live as vegetarians. But even if that was like the precedent they're going to set, they could have made the James thing That fight scene only being like 3 pages,
Yeah,
I was like, make him so much scarier. Come on.
Exactly. Like, I think this, again, I think Twilight could have been a great book series, but it's not, because it's not well written.
Whoa,
And we spend so much time on, like, these conversations when it's like we're not showing anything that moves the plot along, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to have the same conversation over and over 10 pages.
Again. I can't wait for 2 more books of Bella being like, can you turn me now, please?
Hey, she brings up other stuff too, like how much she loves Edward, so don't write her off too fast.
But don't worry, they're finally allowed to leave the Volturi lobby, and Alice steals another car. They fly back. This all happens very quickly. Then suddenly they're back in the airport, and Rosalie's trying to apologize. They're all mad at Rosalie for some, which I think is kind of unwarranted, because it's like, all Rosalie did was just say, hey, Alice had this vision, and now they're blaming Rosalie for why Edward went to go kill himself. And it's like, that's Edward's fault. Like, he jumped to conclusions.
That is fair. Rosalie, I don't know. My opinion on her is just, I don't get her. She's very hot and cold.
She's not really a character. I think she said maybe 10 words the entire 1,000 pages we read thus far.
But she has changed her stance on Bella after Bella has saved Edward, and she warms up to her. Edward takes her back to Charlie's, who is justifiably pissed off to see Edward's back in town.
Charlie's the opposite of warming up to Edward, because he's a different guy now. He is pissed.
Yeah, and Bella does this annoying thing where every time Charlie tries to be, like, upset with Edward, she's like, no, you don't get it. And Edward's like, whatever, I'm gonna leave, I'll come back when you're asleep, it's fine, whatever. Dude, fuck your dad. Your dad's such a wet blanket.
Don't worry, we get like a 20-page conversation in Bella's bedroom that night that's really redundant, but Edward's like, babe, I was lying when I broke up with you. I was just saying all those things so you would, like, feel like we had a clean break. And Bella's like, how am I supposed to believe you? And he's like, babe, you gotta believe me. Then they kiss.
Babe, you gotta believe that I took all your presents away and you have no memories of me because I was just doing it for what's good for you.
Yeah. He's like, and I'm gonna go hunt Victoria. And she's like, well, if you go hunt Victoria, then you're gonna leave me again.
Yeah, he keeps apologizing because he didn't realize that leaving her would affect her this much.
Well, because it's like, I don't, like, again, and this also doesn't make sense for Edward's character, because it's like, does he have emotions or does he not? Because it's like, can he identify with human emotions? Because then it's like, well, how is he supposed to be in love with a human, but he also can't understand that, like, a human was so affected by a breakup, you know?
I also think it's a little unfair of Charlie earlier to tell Alice that he's like, I've never seen someone this affected after a breakup. Because it's like, I'm sorry, after your first breakup and you're like 17, no shit, you're gonna act like depressed all the time.
Yeah, but I will say, Bella taking, 7 months and just isolating herself, I feel like, because, like, when you're going through a breakup, like, at a young age, you still, like, try, I guess, a little bit, right, to, like, hang out with your friends.
Exactly. You have to get to 29 to isolate for 5 months and be around no one. Okay, Bella, grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up.
We also get some nuggets here where Bella's like, well, fine, when are you gonna turn me into a vampire? He's like, oh, we have time. The Volturi, like, they measure, like, years as days, essentially. They probably won't be here until, I don't know, you're 30, we can wait. And Bella's so pissed. But Edward, I will say the nice thing I like about Edward is he does want Bella to, like, have a lot of human time. He's like, because I didn't get it, I want you to have it. Yeah. And Bella's so not down.
She loses her mind when he brings up 30. She's like, you're gonna stay? You're gonna let me get old anyways? The thought of 30
is not old, Bella, thank you.
Exactly, Bella. I'll let you know that my shins don't hurt every day. Just every other day, okay? So
my shins don't hurt every day, but that's because I stretch a lot. So
I don't.
Think about that. Bella, if you stretch a lot, you'll be fine.
Exactly. Bella, get it together. So you
work
and
on your mobility while you're young and you'll be fine.
So she goes, fine, we're going to put my morality to a vote. Come along. We're going to your house. And on the way to his house, she explains that she is like, hey, Edward, can I bring something up that's a little bit crazy? Sometimes I could hear your voice when I was about to do something dangerous.
My favorite thing about this is it was a paragraph long, and Bella's like, yeah, I could hear your voice when I would do something dangerous. And Edward goes, oh, that's weird, wasn't me. And that's it. That's the conversation.
That's weird, couldn't be me. It's
Nope,
actually
didn't do it, sorry.
It's actually so funny because I think that this was supposed to be a huge reveal for us, but maybe it just was for Bella. But the reason she pieces together why she could hear his voice was, oh, okay, I get it. And he goes, what? And she goes, I could hear your voice because you love me. And he said, yeah, no shit. Wait, sorry, what? You're only figuring this out 2 books in?
Yeah, like it was like the scene, yeah, definitely just like felt weird. I think it would have paid off more if it was Edward just being like, yeah, I couldn't stay away. I lied. But the fact that it was just like, nope, I'm gonna realize that he does love me. Kind of lame, but that's just me.
I agree. So they get to the Cullens because the Cullens just, I guess, immediately just got back to their house after...
Yeah, they're all moved in. They've already set up the furniture.
That was so crazy.
Which begs the question, did they just, like, leave everything?
They just, I guess, got their house back after, like, 6 months. They didn't... Well, I could guess that no one bought it.
I guess they also didn't sell the house, you know?
And they put everything up to a vote. I can't get over they're just, like, back in their house.
I also can't get over, like, that the final big plot is Bella being like, your family's gonna vote whether I become a vampire or not. As if that's supposed to be, like, a powerful thing. And it's like, it's not. It really takes, like, any agency away from her as a human, you know?
This is really Bella's, like, Me Too feminism moment. She's like, pussy bites back. Because the only 2 people who vote no are Edward and Rosaline. So she's like, got you. I got your bitch ass.
Yeah. She's like, got you. I can't make decisions for myself. And I got a whole group of people who just made one for me.
Edward's like, I'm not gonna do it. And Carlisle is like, all right, fine, I will do it because I'm the only one who will likely not lose my shit.
Yeah.
And their plan is to do it after graduation.
Yeah, and Edward does try to push a lot for, like, later. And he's like, because Dimitri, one of the Volturi, probably can't even track her because Bella's immune to powers. But it's like, again, Bella was tracked in book 1. This doesn't make sense. What is the logic here? Have we all forgotten about the part where we had to lie about Bella falling out of a window on, like, the 2nd story?
That's so crazy, too, because they could go back and figure out that she's also being tracked by Victoria this book.
Yeah, like... Literally, that is a main plot of this book. What do you mean she's immune to vampire powers?
So anyways, Edward...
Except she's not.
She's not. So Edward, on the way home, he's like bargaining. He's like, 3 years as a human. Because now he realizes that she wants him to be the one to turn her. And he's not going to do that. He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, so they bicker. And basically, it still is like, great, we're going to do it after graduation. But Edward does want to get married first. And now Bella's hesitant all of a sudden. She's like, wait. You didn't say we had to get married.
Yes, this is where she digs her heels in. It's not about immortality and spending your life. Literally, not even your life, eternity, lifetimes with one person.
Her response is like, well, marriage didn't really work out for my parents. And it's like, Bella, do you not hear yourself right now?
Well, they kind of fought and, like, broke up. So I guess that marriage doesn't really make sense to me, but I think staying together forever.
You would still break up if you were a vampire, right?
I guess so.
I mean, yeah, you're just a vampire forever, so.
But at that point, too, it's like the laws and rules don't apply to you. Like, if you don't want to be married, you can just leave. Like, as a vampire, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you're above the law. Anyways, that's where she's, like, gonna dig her heels in. She's like, I don't want to get married.
Yeah.
Oh? The next morning, Charlie asks Bella, what's up? What's the deal? What's the dealio, yo?
Yeah, and he scolds her for leaving and going to Italy. They fight, which is definitely different in their kind of dynamic with each other. Mm-hmm. Bella digs her heels in again. She's like, I will move out. I'm 18.
Oh my God.
Which is so whiny and so annoying. Charlie is just trying to not prevent his daughter from becoming a walking ghost again.
I know. She just doesn't want her to be with this guy that she gave up her whole life for, and she's like, deal with it. We're a package deal. Okay.
And then that's kind of where, like, the main book ends, and then we get, like, a 5-page epilogue.
Yeah, in the epilogue, Bella is like, she's trying to have it all. She's calling Jacob, but he's not picking up her calls because I feel like he just feels he needs to process rejection and abandonment.
And everything basically went back to normal, which is one of my least favorite things in any sort of storytelling ever, especially something like this, which should be like some sort of cool horror book. It's like everything's fine now. It's like, what happened with Victoria? But Bella also notes that she is applying to colleges now because Edward wants her to, which is so awful that she has no aspirations still.
I know. It really does end on actually a very fun little wrap up where it's like, Bella, wait, I didn't read it. I had some serious problems. My best friend counted me with his enemies. Victoria was still on the loose, putting everyone I loved in danger. And if I didn't become a vampire soon, the Volturi would kill me. It's really just such a, what's a girl to do kind of a voice that the book ends on.
So stupid. But that's where New Moon ends.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a girl to do? Sets it up for a big banger in Eclipse.
Wow. Can't wait for that. Meggie, who's your canceled character of the second part of New Moon?
Oh my god, it's so funny because we went in on everyone.
Yeah.
I will say my canceled character, and I don't really know how this one will be received because it even feels like a big stretch in my head. Yeah. But I'm going to go with my gut. I think I'm going to cancel Carlisle.
Give me a reason.
I think I'm just I really was very shocked by him voting yes to Bella being turned. I kind of thought that he really values humanity above everything. I mean, that's why they're all vegetarians. So I was very, very shocked that he
I kind of see it as
sided against him.
We do learn that Carlisle really does want Edward to have that partner. So I did kind of read it as
okay.
This is him finally finding that, and this is Carlisle's gift to both Edward and Bella, is that he can have what he has with Esme. But I get that. I was gonna cancel the Volturi for slaughtering a bunch of people.
Oh yeah. I didn't like that
was pretty
scene.
bad. Yeah.
You know what? For traumatizing me as a kid, because I do remember that scene very vividly, I will also cancel the Volturi.
All right. So then that brings us to our top 5 to close out this episode. And our top 5 this episode will be other Cullen family votes that Bella and Edward can enlist to help make decisions in their relationship.
Exactly, because as a couple, you shouldn't be tasked with making decisions. That's what a couple's counseling is for. Or if you don't have access to healthcare, just get the entire family to vote on something.
Exactly. Bella and Edward are too stubborn to make decisions themselves. Why not get their family to make those decisions for them?
So, coming in at number 5, we think that the whole family should vote on whether or not they get matching tattoos.
And I hope they vote yes, and I hope they vote giant dragons on their backs.
Giant dragons, or Meggie on one back, Laura on the other back.
Oh, and then when their backs touch, we give each other a high five.
Wait, that's so good. Whose back do you think you would be on?
Oh, that's such a good question.
What does your gut say?
My gut said Edward's back.
My gut said I would be on Bella's.
Wow. That was the fates deciding that the Cullen family would vote yes on this vote for the Bella and Edward.
So we did it. Their appointment is next week.
Number 4 is if Bella and Edward should get fast passes for Disney World. We know that they're pretty fiscally responsible family, so it'd be probably really important that the family knows where their money is going, and if the fast passes at Disney World would be worth it.
Number 3, I gotta give Laura her accolades for this one because we think that Edward and Bella should decide together and the family should vote on this, putting Alice back in the insane asylum.
How awful would it be if Bella stomping into the Cullen dining room being like, we all need to vote whether Alice should go back into her insane asylum because she won't turn me into a vampire.
Hey, sometimes you gotta call counsel.
Number 2, a more logistical thing here. Bella and Edward, they're very young. Well, Bella is. But they're going to get the Cullen family vote on if they should in fact get married, thus opening a joint bank account, or if that would just cause more havoc in their relationship.
Exactly. And if it's going to cause havoc, maybe the family could also vote on them getting a prenup.
Think about that.
Do we think that they're going to last long enough? Who knows?
Who knows?
And then coming in at number 1, they should start a book podcast.
Yeah, would love to get the families vote on Bella and Edward starting a podcast. I do think it would be a very boring podcast to listen to because they're both not very big personalities. And they both don't really talk about anything other than themselves. So
Exactly. I would only listen to it if they threw Jacob in there too. Let's get a little challenger situation.
Love Triangle podcast. I would listen to that if like somebody actually did that. Like, I'm here with both of the guys I like, and we're just gonna kind of hash this out live for everybody.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll try to do it.
Yeah, find a love triangle that you can get in on.
I'll bring on a crush every single week.
New crush week.
New crush week.
Well, hell yeah. Then that was it for New Moon. And boy, was that moon new.
It was.
And that's what they say in the podcast world.
If you want, you can follow Laura and I on Twitter and TikTok at Yeah We Read It. We are also on Instagram at Meggie_and_Laura. A lot of underscores. You kind of got it.
Yeah, you can only do so much on Instagram these days. But that's going to be it for this episode of Yeah We Read It. We'll be back next time when we are reading Eclair.
Ooh, yes.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.